The Morgan dollar is a silver dollar. And in this case, this one struck in 1883. As is the case with all American coins, the back is upside down from the front. Now, I would prefer to be handling this coin with gloves on, but it actually makes it really hard for you to see. It was struck in New Orleans. The mint mark is just there. This particular example is definitely in an uncirculated condition, although not a very high grade uncirculated. If you look carefully, you can see plenty of bag marks and problems with the coin. If you take careful photos of your item, the design usually stands out as fake pretty easily. And if you have to resort to methods like magnets and things of that nature due to wear or whatever, then I would just be careful that you don't damage your coins in the process. Some of the features of this coin that make it clearly not a fake are the bag marks. You don't get that kind of thing on a fake coin. Also the luster. If you move the coin in the camera light, you can see that sort of cartwheel, the light rotate around. That only happens when you strike a coin. And most of the time, fakes are cast or they're very poorly made. Okay, so if you do have a higher quality coin, that'd be one thing I'd be looking at right away. Another would be the quality of the design. If you look at all of the details on this particular coin, everything is crisp and clean, and it's the correct design. There's not, the Liberty isn't, some weird font. The hair is definitely highly detailed. That can't be easily faked. So that's one of the first things I look for. On a worn coin, it's a little bit tougher, and you may need to get some help from a dealer or something like that. So let's start with NGC's page, if it allows me to click on it. There we go. And we'll go down to dollars, and you can see right away there's a Morgan dollar at the front, and that I believe is going to be what's called a DMPL, Deep Mirror Proof-like. And so that's something you can research further if you want. But the Morgan dollars, here it says 1878 to 1921, and there are a number of filters on the side where you can say, well, I'm interested in the poorest quality to the highest quality coin. For our purposes, let's just stay in the mint state. And so we're in mint state 60, MS60 up to MS70, and an MS70 I would say would be an extremely rare find for a business strike coin. But you can see the different design designations. There's all kinds of information you can look for. So if you've determined that your coin is genuine, the next thing to worry about is it rare? So you can tell that some of these are much less common than others. There are population charts, etc., and they're also linked in to where you can shop for a specific coin on eBay. Now, the reason I come here is if I have a coin like the one I showed you, which is an 1883-0, which stands for New Orleans. Where are you? This is just a mint state example, and it's worth somewhere between $70 and $100 roughly is what I would value that coin at. And so I'm not particularly interested in selling it. If I did need to sell it, I would probably price it somewhere in the $70 range, and and go from there. But that is a really useful resource if you actually have a date that you need to look up. Or you're trying to price something. eBay, of course, is going to have all kinds of information on that. Well, Numista is really good for all kinds of world coins, and so if I just type in, you can also look for banknotes, exonumia, and then other sorts of things you can find users. I'm not that tuned into it, but if I go Morgan dollar in the search bar, I'll find some examples. Okay, let's go with the United States. Search. And I can find out all kinds of great information about this particular coin. There it is here. Okay, struck in the United States. Standard circulating coin. So this was money you'd have in your pocket at one time. It is a 90% silver coin, which is standard for American silver coins. And they were there were silver coins in circulation up to and including 1964, and they made some lower grade silver coins from 65 to 69, that being the Kennedy halves. But we're not talking about Kennedys today. One of the really good ways to tell whether your coin is fake or not, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, is by weight. So a worn coin obviously isn't going to match this weight, but it should be within reason of that. You can look at diameter and thickness, all that sort of stuff as well, but really the design is almost always very clear as to whether you have the right detail or not. So a fake coin, if it looks like a higher quality coin, is going to have a hard time picking up some of this detail and some of these design. And there are so many good images of a Morgan dollar out there that I would start with the image before I did anything else, because if you find anything wrong with the image of your coin, if you look at it very carefully, you'll know you have a fake before you do any of these other tests where you're actually potentially affecting the face of the coin. So Numista is really good for telling you where the KM number, so there's a number of references you can look at, and if you hover over it, it'll tell you where you can find out more information on it. Sometimes there are a number of catalogs that have that coin in it, and there's more information about the item here, the mints, etc., and so on. And you can get the all of the mint figures on this page as well. And this information I'm sure is in other places as well. This is just my preference for looking at it. And then if I come over here and I just go Morgan dollar, that's interesting. No, there should be a lot more. So here I'm going to go advanced. And sometimes, so if you're in Australia, so I'm in Australia, if I'm trying to look at something that's most likely in the United States or somewhere else, it does help to, you can do the available to if you want, but I'm just going to search directly in the United States. When they're struck right, they're an absolutely beautiful coin. They're a heavy coin, which is always nice. They are 90% silver, and then my personal favorite is something with some toning, some natural toning. Here's a nice example here. And they really are quite gorgeous coins. There are some rarities in the mix. There are some mint marks that are hard to get. There are undoubtedly a number of reasons why this is a very popular coin to collect, but I think just the beauty of the coin, the weight, the size, and it's a very American thing. It's very representational of the coin collecting community in the United States. So I would say that of all the coins we've ever collected, it's certainly one of my favorite. And if you do have a nice example, make sure that's not in PVC. I'll say that with all coins, try to make sure that your coins are not kept in PVC because it will damage your coins. Before I go, one other thing I wanted to do was a size comparison. So you should be familiar with the Australian 50-cent coin if you're watching this from Australia. And if you compare the two, you can see it's quite a bit bigger. It's almost a 40 mil diameter coin. It's quite a affordable collectible coin, and in my opinion, it is not worth buying a circulated example when you can find a nice example like this, probably in the $100 range. The silver content alone is typically in the $20 to $30 range, and the circulated examples that you find are going to be around $50 from a dealer. In a worn state, you might get them cheaper than that. It's been a while since I've tried to buy any, but that one's only worth $70 to $80. So if you're thinking about collecting these particular kinds of coins, I would go to a reputable dealer, and I'd be looking for something in a mint state example to start off with. And there are obviously much more expensive examples out there, and you can grow your collection from there. In my opinion, it's not worth messing around with the lower quality coins for this particular example. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you could leave a like, possibly think about subscribing if you haven't, and we'll catch up with you next time.